Okay, so it's August 21st, 6:36 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Montgomery Selectboard. The meeting is being recorded. Also, Northwest Access TV is here recording as well. First order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda. I have two additions to the agenda. Shouldn't be too time consuming, but if we could add a community capacity building mini grant under 6D and Stanion environmental court appeal under 6E. That's not going to be a discussion of anything regarding the appeal, more just a notice for board members that we did receive one. So that won't be an executive session or anything. Are there any other changes to be made to the agenda?
No, I have none.
No.
Great. Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the August 7th meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 7th meeting as written.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Leanne. Thank you, Leanne. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing no discussion on the minutes, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the minutes have been approved. Next up is Public Works. First item here is the Public Safety Building boiler quote. So we've had this for a bit. Just so folks remember the context of the conversation, the boiler here is clunked out, needs to be repaired before the fall. We had been waiting on approving a quote from Mercy's until after the Town Office Renovation Committee was able to get word on the energy assessment work that they're doing here funded by the state. The hope being that could get done before we moved on this, since if we were moving on a new heating unit, it might impact the ability for some things to come out of the energy assessment work. What we heard back from John was essentially do not wait on getting this going, because by the time we order the stuff, it might not be there. And we can't afford to get into, late September or October without heating the building. And then on the municipal energy assistance front, they hope to get us in the queue in the next couple of weeks, with the assessment being done by the end of the year. But even that timeline puts us in some danger zone with waiting on John.
Yeah.
So the recommendation to the board this evening would be to approve Mercy's Heating Services quote for a new boiler. John did say that even if we did approve this and he ordered the parts and the unit, should we decide in a month or so or two that we didn't actually need it or want it, he probably would be able to return it. So we don't want to do that, but he did mention that there is a possibility of that should our plans change. As a reminder, this unit is...
Seems like we still gotta do something even though.
Right.
Yeah, we can't...
Even if their audit comes in.
We can't wait, we gotta at least move on ordering
You know how long
everything.
some of those
Yeah.
things can take.
Exactly. So as a reminder, the total quote came to $14,621. We've reviewed this before, but if folks want to take another look at it.
I think then I think we should add a little bit to that, just to cushion, because prices of things. I mean, this quote was only good for about a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Or just a few days or something.
Yep.
Because the price of everything is crazy right
Yeah.
now. So just to cushion, make sure. I mean, the money is in the building capital improvement fund.
Yep.
That's what we have.
Okay.
So I make a motion to approve the quote from John Mercy for installing a boiler for the public safety building, not to exceed $16,000.
Okay. We've got a motion from Mark to authorize the quote from John Mercy for boiler installation not to exceed $16,000. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Leanne. Is there any more discussion on the quote? Hearing no discussion, we will vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. We've approved that, and we will get that back to John first thing tomorrow. Next up is another kind of building housekeeping related issue. This is the Vermont Elevator Inspection Services. So this is the inspection for the Grange Hall elevator. This is a renewal of our inspection agreement. State has regulated fees that they outline here. If your agreement, please choose between 2 or 3 years, and your current pricing will stay the same. State regulated fees are as follows. Fees listed. So the fee schedule is outlined here. We have got a hydraulic elevator with, ours is a hydraulic elevator, right?
Yeah.
Hydraulic elevator with 2 stops.
Mhm.
Okay, so the fee schedule is $200.
Yeah. For yearly inspection.
For yearly inspection.
And that's for 2 years.
We can do it for 2 or 3 years if we want to do it for 3. And the rates will stay solid for 3 if we do it that way.
Why don't we just lock it in for 3?
Okay? So is that a motion, Mark, to approve the inspection agreement for a 3-year period?
Yes, for the town hall elevator.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Leanne.
I think they just came in and did it it was about a month ago.
They did do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
will cover next year's inspection?
Yes.
Okay, June 22nd is when it was dated, so that
Yeah.
was to come in, okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense that they then give
Yeah.
us that
Yeah.
afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion made and seconded to adopt the inspection agreement for a 3-year period. Hearing no other discussion, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Great. So that brings us through Public Works. Visitors is scheduled for 7, but I think we've got a few visitors already with us, so if there's no objection, we'll just move right into visitors.
Sure.
I have a couple more things for
Public Works? Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
We've been having some troubles with the loader. We've had them out a couple times to look at it, and it almost has to go into their shop to be looked at, which is United Ag and Turf, but it's the industrial division.
Okay.
And so we'll try to get a quote how much it's going to cost to get it fixed, but it just doesn't have any power, and they've come a couple times and they can't seem to find the problem, and they said it may have to go right down. So we get a truck down there. It's down in Milton, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll try to get a quote right off because we want to get that fixed before winter comes.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Otherwise, they'll be
Yeah.
shoveling snow into the back of the trucks.
Ugh.
yeah. So I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
And I think that's it. I think that's all we have for Public Works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if there's no objections, we'll move to visitors, and we usually go in the order folks got here, starting in the room. So Parma, the floor is yours. I think you're here to discuss the DRB fee schedule.
The DRB is requesting that we raise our fee schedule. Right now, we're losing money. We're asking for a fee schedule of 200 plus 15 for the recording. The paper for the ad is costing minimum 60, sometimes 80. Sue Wilson called 9 towns. We're one of the lowest towns. And a lot of the towns said they are raising their fees. We have to, right now, a certified letter is $8.32, and every interested party gets a certified letter. We had one here, and it was $40 alone for the mail-in. And that doesn't include the certificate of mail-in for the abutters. You have Ellen's fee, and then you also have Linda's fee, who is doing the decisions and the minutes, which is a hard job and it has to be very precise.
Yeah.
So that's what we're asking. And some of the towns are $235 plus 15 for recording. One of the lowest, we were one of the lowest town, Richford's $165. I think I don't think we should be using money on these hearings, we're gonna have a couple hearings every month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I think the newspaper, I think the Courier's just online now, I think.
Yeah.
No, they're not even online.
Oh,
they
they're
aren't.
not?
No, we've been with the St. Albans Messenger
So
for quite a while.
that's the rate for the Messenger?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It all depends on
Okay.
how much, the minimum 60, the max is 82 or something. It all depends what's gonna go into the, so that's what we're requesting.
Okay, and just as a reminder, currently right now, the fee schedule is $15 flat for recording and $85 for the DRB application fee.
Okay. So what were you asking? You asking for?
We're asking for 200 plus 15 for recording. On the
Okay.
permit, it's actually 85 plus, all your permits got the extra 15 for the recording. The recording fees aren't per page, it's a flat rate for every permit.
Yep.
So,
And it looks like the last time we updated the fee schedule, if this is correct, the original fee schedule was set October 3rd, 2005. It looked like July 1st of 2019, we did revise the recording fees. Those increased, but none of the other fees increased. So the
okay.
$15 recording fee increased per statutory changes in Title 32, but none of the actual permit fees changed. So I think our permit fees have been the same since 2005, just for context.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we really shouldn't be losing money.
No,
No, we should not.
no.
So Parma, on behalf of the DRB, is requesting that we increase the permit fee to $200 for a DRB application fee. Any other questions for Parma or discussion?
Plus 15 recording.
Plus 15,
That's
yeah.
the 15 report.
And all applications would require a $15 recording fee blanket across them. Now, is this an extra $15 fee that you're saying on top of
The recording fee?
that?
Yes, it's, if you look at the permits, they have the permit fee, and then it's always plus 15,
Okay,
okay? So,
okay. Well, if there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion to increase the permit fees to $200 plus 15 for recording.
I'll make that motion.
Great. We have a motion from Leanne.
I'll second that.
Just a quick clarification on the motion, Leanne. Motion to increase permit fees for DRB by $200 plus 15 for recording. Would that be effective immediately, just to clarify?
I would say yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And that is okay with your second? Great. Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing no other discussion on the motion, we will vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Approved, and we'll get that out to Liz and we'll get it updated on the website.
Thank you.
That should be fine going forward.
Yeah.
Great. Next up, Merle.
I think that gentleman was here first.
Well, we usually go through the room, but we can certainly pivot if you wanna, if that's okay. If that works for you, then we'll pivot. So Mr. Kaufman, you're welcome to take the floor.
Oh, thank you. Is Scott from Public Works here at the meeting?
No, Scott Ovitt is not here today, but Mark Briette, who is a select board member, is also a road commissioner, so Mark can represent the Public Works Department
He's
and the roads.
updated me on the situation. Scott did, so, yeah.
Okay, so because I thought I would attend to hear Scott's request to your board for permission to repair Hannah Clark Brook Road to the section where my driveway is. But Scott not being here, Mark, was this something you were going to address, or
Yeah,
is this for me too?
yeah, I will address it. I know they went up and repaired that section of the road. And it is a class 4 road. But we didn't budget money to, really what needs to be done there is the ditch needs to be cleaned out and some culverts put in. So that's something we really need to budget for. We didn't budget for that for that class 4 road. As far as I know, they fixed it as well as they can right now. I think they put 4 loads of gravel up there. And we'll get it in the budget for next year to get the ditches cleaned and get it, get it repaired. But we just didn't budget for that, because class 4s are not on top of our list. I mean, we're trying to get the 3s done, and, so we do know the situation, we are aware of the situation, and we'll try to get it repaired, better next year. But we'll keep it maintained, if it does wash out again, we'll try to get it fixed up. But as far as I know, there's not much ditches up through there, so that's some of the problem to get it done.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So when I spoke with Scott, I explained that we needed to get a truck up there so we could brush hog. We try and get that done at least once a year. Because of COVID, things fell to the wayside, so we're really in dire need of getting that done before it's very difficult to do it all.
Well, don't.
And with this recent storm, there was quite a bit of erosion. And so at this point, it was very difficult to get a passenger vehicle by it, but the truck wasn't making it. So Scott indicated he would get the truck up there and try and, his truck, the town truck, and at least repair it. That's what my understanding was. But what turned out was, it looks like only sand was placed
It wasn't sand.
and
It
not
was-
gravel.
It was gravel that we
And
used
so-
on all the roads. I mean,
I'm sorry?
it's the gravel that we use on all the roads was put on there.
The reason I'm saying that
Not
is
sand.
because the following day, I went up there with our passenger vehicle, and we were sinking into that material 4 or 5 inches.
Well,
And
because,
so, we had to stay away from the more severely eroded part, but I can't send the landscaper's truck up there. He won't negotiate that road. So I
well,
understand what you're saying, Mark, that to definitively address this so it doesn't wash out like this each year, it'll take budgeting and more work. But for the last 10 years, each time this type of thing would happen, you would repair it. You would repair it at least to where it had been before it washed out with more material than sand so that it was at least passable. And that's what we need.
yeah,
Just to clarify, the repairs in the past few years, though, those were all made by Marty, right? Like did we actually do work on that?
yeah, we have put some gravel
Some,
and stuff down.
I know that we've given
yeah.
them gravel, but it hasn't,
Yeah.
okay.
I guess what I don't understand is if you're getting a landscaper up there to do brush hogging, isn't it with a tractor?
He's got to bring a
So-
trailer so he can get his equipment up there. So his truck and trailer need to get up to the property, yes.
Yeah, but if he has a tractor on the trailer, can he just unload the tractor at the bottom and drive it up? Instead of having to get up there with a truck and trailer? That's what I don't understand.
I don't know. I'd have to ask him that.
I mean, if it's a tractor, then he can just unload it on the bottom and drive it up. I mean, that's what I don't understand, why he has to get the truck and trailer up there.
Yeah, so I don't know better what equipment he brings. I just know that each year he brings the truck that pulls the trailer,
Yeah,
and on that trailer is whatever he uses to do the brush hogging.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm believing that what he's bringing up there is wider than my passenger vehicle, much heavier than my passenger vehicle. And even if it was the same width as my passenger vehicle, I'm sinking 4 or 5 inches into that material.
Is it-
I wouldn't ask him to bring a truck, with any load on it and try and negotiate that.
Are you still sinking in that material?
Yes, the day after the work was done, I was sinking, not only was the vehicle sinking 4 to 5 inches, just walking myself on it to go and see what was going on better, I was sinking 2 inches, my own weight.
Some of the issue is it's been so wet, it takes a little while for that to settle in too, to settle down. after it dries out.
So, I don't want to disagree, Mark. I'm not an expert in this either. But this was thin, sandy material. I didn't see gravel.
Yeah,
I just saw what seemed to be sand.
yeah, okay, well, I mean, I will go up and look at it,
Okay, I would appreciate that very much.
Yeah, and then we'll,
And
yeah.
when should I get back to you so that I'll be able to know if it's okay and I can give that fellow a go-ahead to get up there?
Just, do you have our email for the Public Works Department? It's public.
I don't. I was calling the town clerk, which is what I used to do, and then they would take care of it. But this time I was redirected to the town garage and I would speak with Scott.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
tell me whatever I should do, however you want me to reach you.
You can reach me via email at the publicworksmontgomery@gmail.com.
Publicworks.Montgomery,
Public Works Montgomery's, all
Public Works Montgomery.
then .gmail.com.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
And
it.
then I'll get a hold of you. Yeah,
Okay,
Thank you.
okay,
great.
yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton. Myrtle, we'll go to you. You have the floor.
Yeah, well, I would say, I think that's got a pretty reasonable estimate on that boiler. We had to have ours replaced last fall, and just for a home heating boiler was not that much, but
Yeah.
quite high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And certainly, John,
Well-
you can't get, I think, somebody to do any better work.
Yeah.
The reason we went with John is he
Yeah.
installed one at the town hall too, and at the town garage, so he's done all the buildings, so we wanted to stay with the same contractor,
It's
so
great to have somebody local to go.
and when we have a problem, he gets right here and takes care of it, so,
Yep.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other thing, I guess, I keep mentioning, I'm curious why we don't have that public meeting or whatever about the streetscape. I think, the longer it goes, probably most everybody's just forgetting about it. You have it, probably won't have half a dozen people.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, we want to have it as soon as possible. Our challenge is that we want to make sure whatever we bring to the town is something that has already passed muster with V-Trans. Because there's two alternatives that we're looking at right now that have to do with where we can construct sidewalks. And I think the board has kind of said, we'd like to do this one, but that one only works if V-Trans can say yes. So rather than go to the town and say, we don't know which one of these we can actually go with, pick one. We want to make sure when we go to the town, we can say, this passes muster with V-Trans, what do you think? We just want to make sure when we have the meeting, it's an efficient use of everyone's time. So we're hoping to get it done as soon as possible.
Yeah, I can appreciate that,
Yeah.
but it may be a little,
I mean,
help to you if you say, well, we had a meeting and this is what the people want too, not only us. I mean, might enforce it a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, and all the stuff we've been doing had gone off of the public meetings we had. Granted, they were a couple of years ago. It's a slow process. So we've tried to build on that. And then as soon as we have more info to go back, we'll schedule the meetings and publicize them.
I mean, we have scaled it back a lot,
Yeah.
so that V-Trans can still maintain the highway.
Yeah.
And then, so that's why we've been having meetings with V-Trans to try to make sure we don't do anything that they're gonna say, okay, now the town has to take it over.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been working on.
Yep.
And I think we're almost there.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. Yeah, I will say, just because we're on the topic, I did have another email from our contact at V-Trans today with some follow-up questions. He says that they're in discussions with his group, and then Wednesday afternoon, we have another check-in with the engineer team and V-Trans. So hopefully by Wednesday afternoon, we'll have some more clarity on which direction we can go in.
Do they come up here or do you have to go out?
It's all remote because
Oh.
the engineering team is spread out and these guys are in Montpelier, so it's all on the Zoom.
Technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're real close, Merle.
Yep. That's the status there. Do you have anything else for visitors? Nope. Okay. Great. So that brings us through visitors and public works. So we're on to old business. Thanks, Parma.
Thank you.
The next up is the streetscape project update. As we just discussed, we're basically waiting for V-Trans to come back with the yes or no on the last round that we sent back to them. We have a meeting scheduled Wednesday with the team and V-Trans to talk about this. So hopefully by Wednesday, I'm hoping they'll have given us an answer. I'll let folks know what the status is update there after we chat Wednesday. And then the only update on the wastewater project, if folks remember last time we talked about the need for both title search work and the survey work. We've got a draft scope of work we put together to get out to different firms to respond to. There's two little questions that we're trying to figure out right now on that. One is, does this firm act as a subcontractor to Tarrant, who is our attorney, or do they work as a contractor for the town? We're going to go whatever is most efficient and cheapest. Just waiting for word back from the attorneys on that. And then I wanted to tighten up some of the language around how much of the actual on-the-ground survey work might be required. So I did send both the engineering team and the legal team an email this morning asking if we could get that buttoned up by Tuesday or Wednesday to get it out. And hoping we can do that so that we can get moving on that. Because the sooner we do, the better, because that title work is going to take a lot of digging.
I have a question on the wastewater project.
Yeah.
Do we have actual sites locked in for the treatment?
We do for the center. We're still waiting on finally getting things in the village nailed down.
I'd say that's one of the first things we should do before we do any project.
Trust me. And I have told this individual that I'm waiting to hear back from a number of times that we need a firm answer on this.
So the center is what, one side of the cemetery, and is it Walter Knight's
So the
property?
center is going to be Walter Knight's property. That's where one disposal field and the above ground secondary treatment is going to go. The plan at this point would be to use one of the meadows by the cemetery for an additional capacity for groundwater dispersal. So there wouldn't be any built environment there. It would just be the meadow that would act as a secondary dispersal field. Yeah.
So everything else would be over on?
Yeah, everything else would be on Waltz, which would include the dispersal field there and an above ground secondary treatment building.
Have we gotten a contract with him or a price with him? Or?
No, he's basically said that he's willing to work with us and sell it. I'm trying to get the village one nailed down.
What was that one estimated at? Do you remember the appraisal for that site?
Yeah, the appraisal for that, and just as a refresher, while I looked this up, the money to purchase the properties is coming through the state ARPA grant, so not the money that we, the town, got as our ARPA allocation. This is a secondary ARPA grant for the wastewater project. So that's where money for the purchase of properties is going to come from. And the quote for Walt's property, 14.56 acres, which would be the entire property, which is what we would need. The quote for that came in, not the quote, the appraisal for that.
That's what I mean. The appraisal.
Yeah, it came in at 95,000.
Oh, it did?
Yep.
Okay. So the grant money will cover that because that's what the appraisal is. Yeah.
Yeah, so the money, the ARPA money will pay for property purchases
Up to that.
up to the appraisal. Anything above that, we pay, but we've got a pretty substantial cushion in the local option tax account now that can cover overages, because that money's going towards project costs anyway. So luckily we've got a buffer, but yes, we need to get the village disposal Freudian slip, sorry. Site locked in, and trust me, I'm trying to get a firm answer on that for months, and I'm hoping to this week.
So since we brought up ARPA money.
Yep.
What is happening with this building? I know we want to use that ARPA money to upgrade this building. And there's a certain time frame we have to use that ARPA money.
So actually, our ARPA money, we took the general allocation, I believe is the way to describe it. And so what we did is we said, we're going to use this money to offset municipal losses during COVID, which allowed us to basically take it, roll it into our general fund, and then basically sign off on ARPA. So I can double check this, but my understanding is that we've met the requirements for ARPA and we're not subject to the December 31st, 2026 date.
I'd like to make sure.
Yeah, I can double check that, but I believe that's the case there.
My other thing is with all this flooding around, is can they come back on us and say, okay, we want that money back since you haven't used it? Is what?
No,
Okay.
if they do, I will go to the mat against them,
I
but
mean,
no.
I just don't want a bunch of angry taxpayers in this town when we had $300,000 sitting there.
Yeah, no.
It gets taken away.
No, it won't. I will double check.
I just want to be on the record to.
Yeah. No, let me,
I mean,
I will double check with Aaron.
because I could use a lot of that money on roads and
Oh, trust
a
me,
lot of
yeah.
places in town.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna be gone, I'd rather use it than.
No, yeah, and I've been waiting for, the Town Office Renovation Committee is slowly moving forward with that scope of work to secure a,
Because I know an RFP went out.
contractor. Yeah, so what we can do is, I will try to get a new update,
We could have that
for next meeting.
Yeah, yeah. I just, you know the way things go.
Oh, totally, yeah,
Okay, you haven't used that, so
Yeah.
now we're gonna take it back.
yep,
And, which, I wanna make sure that doesn't happen.
yeah, and I will check with Aaron on the general, I wanna say it was a general allocation was what it was called, but, my understanding is that we basically said, we're gonna use this to cover our losses, here's the documentation, we signed off on it, and they said, great. So as far as they're concerned, that money's been spent to the general fund. I will check with Aaron on that,
Okay,
but I believe that that's what we did, and that's why we're also not doing any kind of quarterly reporting on it. So that money is still banked. The only, well, it's a separate, we're talking about that, but yeah, it's all banked, we haven't spent any of it yet.
yeah,
And as we also talked about, the goal and the said desire is to not use any of that money for either the streetscape or the wastewater project, because we've got, as you said, plenty of other uses for it.
yeah.
So,
I mean, we still have that on Reagan Road.
yes,
For the tank.
which we need the easement paperwork back on.
I have talked to Teresa Begnosh, and she said she would let us go across her pasture and go from a different pole
Okay,
and give us an easement going that way. So I just want to go ahead to get a hold of V-Trans.
Let's do
I'll
it,
get a hold of
'cause
Vermont Electric, and it sounds like those other people aren't really willing to do it.
I don't know, I've
Yeah.
struck out,
We need to get something done.
that's great, if,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna get a hold of V-Trans and see if we can go, because there is poles that come up along their pasture. May have to put 2 poles in, but just try
Okay.
to get an estimate.
that'd be perfect.
Get that job done. I mean, it's for public safety too, because
Yeah.
we're trying to get to.
No,
the-
Doug asked me about it again last
Yeah.
week, yeah.
So I will get a hold of Vermont Electric and see if we can go a different route
That's great,
and get
because
power up there.
that,
Well, Teresa's wants it because I think her son wants to build a house up there, so they may go up farther or whatever, so we'll
All right.
see, but.
well, that's great, because yeah, they've had that easement paperwork since last December, and I haven't
Yeah,
heard a peep from them or a
Okay.
response from them,
okay,
so.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's great.
okay,
Uh,
so we'll try to get a different route.
yeah, and if,
Get that done.
I'll make a note for the next meeting to execute any paperwork we need, so let me know if,
Just put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
For Reagan Road tank or whatever. and let-
Yep.
and I'll try to get something by then.
great, awesome. Well, that's great, because if we can get that done, there'll at least be one project
Yeah.
off the
Well,
friggin' list.
I just hate to go through another winter with
No.
batteries, and I don't wanna get new batteries up there.
No,
It's really a pain in winter time.
yeah, And as you
I have
said,
to
it's
run it
a-
manually.
it's a safety thing too with
Yeah.
comms.
Yeah, we can get those, the sooner we get those radios, the better for that too.
Great. So that brings us through items A and B on old business. Item C is the Lister vacancy. This is carried over from a previous meeting. So just as a refresher, as folks remember, back a number of months ago, the Lister board, as it existed at that time, came to the board and recommended that we change the model that we're gonna be working under. The board recommended that we go to what they're calling the assessor with essential responsibilities of the listers. And so, as folks as we described it at that time, essentially the listers, work would be in hearing grievances, making exemptions determinations, collaborating with the assessor, but would have no regular office hours. Most of the routine tasks and things would be handled by the clerk, which is Genevieve. So the board came and asked us to make that switch. We discussed it and approved that switch. So we've now got the assessor clerk, Genevieve, who is handling the day-to-day. What that essentially means is that right now there's no real scope of work for the lister board until next year when the appraisal starts. Because our grand list is lodged, we've got no appeals pending, the appraisal's not going to start until next year. So there's not really any work for a board of listers at this time with the clerk handling the day-to-day filings and things. So I only bring that up because we do have 2 vacancies on the board. The select board can appoint to fill those vacancies, or the board could wait and just let the vacancies lie until town meeting and let the vacancies be filled through election. So we've got 2 options as how to handle that. We could, like I said, we could make appointments now, or we could just hold the vacancies until town meeting, at which point the electorate would elect a new board of listers.
That's, I don't think that's right, Charlie. Have you got the statutes? If you look at 24, Title 24, 963, I think. It has to do with filling vacancies, and I think the language is a shall fill a vacancy, and I think they use the word forthwith, something like that, which means basically immediately. I don't think you can wait, not other statutes.
So the statute,
24 VSA 963, I think.
yep, you remember, you still got it, Merle. It is
Well,
963. Did you have,
I just think you can fill them till town meeting or something, isn't that how that works? If
Yeah,
there's
well,
a
according to the
vacancy.
statute, Mark, yeah, no, it says you shall. It's
So-
supposed to be filled immediately.
vacancies, so,
Yeah.
so 24 VSA 963, duties of the select board. When a vacancy occurs in any town office, the select board forthwith by appointing in writing shall fill such a vacancy until an election is had,
Yeah,
except that in the event of vacancies in a majority of the select board at the same time, such vacancies shall be filled by a special town meeting called for that purpose. So
That's
we
for
don't
select
have
board.
vacancies for majority of the select board.
Well, it's any town office.
Yep, I'm just looking at the rest of the. Okay, that pertains to, okay, yeah, so, when a vacancy occurs in any town office, the select board forthwith by appointment in writing shall fill such vacancy until an election is had. So you're right, Merle, it does say forthwith, which would indicate expediency. So I guess according to statute, we should fill vacancies, even if there's no
Yeah, it's
work
good
for
to
the
have a
board.
functioning board, I mean, for people to come in or whatever, I guess, you know,
yeah,
also.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we do have 2 vacancies on the board. James, it's Jamie's last name.
Jamie-
Walsh.
Jamie Walsh. Yeah.
Jamie Walsh is the only current member. We've had interest from 2 other individuals, neither of which are fully committed. I know Merle's expressed interest. So what's the pleasure of the board? We can make appointments, we can wait for clarity on other interested parties, we can make partial appointments, whatever we want to do.
I mean, I think Merle's interested, and I think we should appoint Merle, and then see if the other interested people are interested, you know.
Right.
So it'd be an appointment till town meeting to fill.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so I make a motion to appoint Merle Van Gies into the lister board till town meeting.
I'll second that. Who are the other 2 people?
I've spoken with Lynn Locker about it, and by second hand, I have heard that Eric
Brooke?
Brooke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apologies to the recording. Yeah, might also be interested. That did not come from Eric, so for the record, I
Okay.
don't know how true that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to appoint Merle Van Giesen, the vacancy by Mark, seconded by Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so we have filled one vacancy, we have one left. So thank you, Merle.
I think it's just in the best interest of the town to have the board functioning.
Yep, no, and as you point out, statute directs us to do that, so we will follow statute. New business, DRB fee schedule. We have already discussed that with Parma. The added items, the community capacity building mini grant. So this is something pretty basic. This is a $4,000 grant that the town office renovation committee received to assist with an ADA compliance study. So the only action with the board tonight would be, bye Merle.
Good night, Merle.
So the only action tonight would be for the board to accept the state of Vermont grant agreement for the community capacity building mini grant in the amount of $4,000.
So what's the grant actually for?
It's for it's $4,000 to do what was described to me as oh, you know what?
Is that the energy audit? No.
This is the energy audit, yeah. Liz described this as being something regarding ADA compliance, but I might have misheard her, and that's something else that's coming. So this is $4,000 for the Municipal Energy Resilience Program Capacity Building Mini Grant. So
Yes.
thank you for asking. I thought it was for ADA compliance.
And my understanding was this wasn't even gonna happen until January, if they get us in, so, but.
Yeah,
maybe I'm
she
wrong.
told me by the end of the year. But if
Well,
we're already
that's
moving
the end of
forward
the
with
year,
this, so yeah, right. This is the end of the fiscal year, which means next June.
Yeah.
So is there a motion to
Is it, we're just applying for the grant? Or-
no, this is to accept the grant
Oh,
agreement.
accept the grant
Yeah, we've been
agreement.
awarded
Okay.
the grant, we just need to accept it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to accept the grant.
Great.
Is it for like Efficiency Vermont, or is it?
It's a grant through it's through Act 171 Community Capacity Building.
Okay.
I thought it was through through BGS, Buildings and General Services.
Okay.
So is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Leanne. Any further discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The last item here, again, was just a notice for the board to be aware that the Stanions have appealed the DRB decision regarding their short-term rental to the environmental court. So this will essentially follow the same track as the Snagcore Eberly appeal, which is pending the preliminary hearing, whatever you want to call that,
Yeah.
preliminary conference.
Yeah.
So no action at this time, just making the board aware that that
So
appeal
it was another appeal.
was filed. Yes, so another appeal. That was filed with the E-Court, so expect more on that to be forthcoming. We have no liquor licenses, we have no tobacco licenses.
I just had one thing for the water department.
Yes,
I was wondering if we could get a laptop for the water department and the public works department. The computer at the garage is not working too well, and then we could use it up at the water plant. Then I wouldn't have to use my personal
yeah,
computer. And then we wanted to return on the
yeah,
Wi-Fi and the phone up there.
yeah, I told Scott just to call Consolidated and get that turned back on.
Oh,
Just
okay.
do it. And as
Okay.
far as the laptop goes,
Yeah.
I was gonna
If you wanna ask
ask
Aaron.
him to connect with
Aaron?
Open Approach, whatever our tech
Oh, okay.
folks are.
To see what.
Yeah, because if we can get a laptop through them, they should be able to work it so that it hooks into all the systems.
Okay. Because
Um,
I think it's gonna be under $1,000.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
no, I mean this
Yeah.
we have a budget for this. It'll
I've
cover
just been
it.
using my personal.
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah.
It would be easier to do stuff at the water plant. And I think Scott wants to get on to take some classes.
Yep.
To get his license
Yeah.
too, so.
Okay.
Yep.
So we get that taken care of.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and reconnect the water plant, and as far as the laptop goes, I'll check in with Erin and Liz and Genevieve about our contact with I think it's Open Approach.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you're right.
To see if we can get a laptop through them, which then they can get with all the kind of security features, network features, all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
And that way it should be
Yeah.
integrated seamlessly into all our systems.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay.
all right. So we have no permits this evening, so that's it for the agenda. So if there's no other business, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leanne.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mark. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, and the meeting is adjourned at 7:21.